when you solve mathematical problems, it is inevitable that you encounter things like sine of 0, cosine of pi over 2, and so on. And you always stop and wonder, what do they equal to? Right? I mean, sine and cosine are very similar functions, and it's rather easy to forget these values. So I think the best way to figure these values out, right, not to memorize them, but to derive their values, is through remembering their graphs. So you of course know that we can have a graph like this, and we can have a graph like this. But which one is sine and which one is cos, right? It's also easy to forget. And here, I suggest you think about triangles. I mean, sine functions are coming from studying triangles. So what do you remember? If you have a triangle with sides A, B, and C, this is angle alpha, you should of course remember that by definition, sine of alpha is A over C, and cos alpha is B over C. So now think about sine of 0. Of course, an angle cannot be equal to 0, but let us look at what happens as we approach 0. So if we take sine of, say, 100th, what is it going to look like? The triangle is going to be very acute. It's going to look like this. A, B, and C. So sine is A over C, but you notice that A, this side, is much smaller than C, and it will continue to shrink as we decrease the angle. Hence, we understand that sine of 0 must be 0. And in a sense, once you know that, you immediately know which of these two graphs is that of sine. Of course, it's going to be this one. And cos of 0 is 1, which you can also derive from this picture, because as this angle gets smaller, this side becomes almost of the same length as the hypotenuse. So cos of 0 is 1. And once you know these graphs, you of course know that it's periodic with a period of 2 pi, and you know all these intermediate values as well. So when you encounter things like this, you can derive them from the graph. There is another connection which I'd like to discuss. So if we go back to our graphs, here and here, what you might also remember is the concept of Taylor series. And Taylor series expansions for sine and cos are very well known, and you should at least remember that sine of x begins like this. So we have x cubed over 3 factorial plus x to the 5th over 5 factorial, and so on. So a small exercise for you is to write a general formula, and cos of x is 1 minus x squared over 2 factorial plus x to the 4 or 4 factorial minus and so on. But once again, how do you remember that this expansion belongs to sine and this expansion belongs to cos? Well, like what we have just discussed, you can imagine plugging in specific values of x into here and then evaluating the series at these points should tell you which one of them is right. So since sine of 0 is 0, we see that on the right hand side here it does evaluate to 0, whilst here subbing in x equals 0 will give us 1. So this is not a correct formula. But here is what's interesting. In sine, if you look at the powers of x, we see that it only contains odd powers of x. And if you look at cos, it only contains even powers of x. So this is rather strange, but the beauty of mathematics lies in its interconnectedness. Look at these graphs more closely. What do you see? You see that there is some kind of symmetry in y-axis, right? So with sine of x, you know that if you take sine of minus x, it's going to be the negative of that of sine of x. And you can see it from the graph. So if you take some x value here, minus x is going to be reflected up here, and you see that the functional value is positive here and it's negative here. So we know this rule, and for cos, it's going to be different. Cos of x is going to be equal to that of cos of minus x. And if you did A-levels, or if you remember it from doing A-levels, you immediately recognize that if a function follows this identity, it's called an odd function. And a function satisfying this identity is called an even function. Do you see it? We have a connection. Cos is an even function, and it only has even powers of x in its expansion. Likewise, with sine, it's an odd function, it only has odd powers of x. So this is beautiful, and I think that you should always try and link algebra with geometry, because one will always supply another with intuition and make it easier for you to solve problems more efficiently.